Mayor Johnson, Chicago. How much has the city of Chicago spent on illegal immigration?
If you're referring to the 2022 up to 2024 of the buses coming from Texas, roughly the same percentage of the state of Texas, about 1% of our overall budget.
What is that? Because we don't have the city's budget in front of me. Numbers.
It's 1%, and if you want the actual calculation, we can make sure someone...
You're the mayor. You don't have the math in front of you?
It's 1% of the overall budget over the last 4 years.
That's why you're a failing
which
mayor.
is
Blue cities are getting torched as they're being forced to admit just how much they have spent on illegal immigrants. Mayors are embarrassed as they have a tough time answering under oath. And a far-left congressman has just been censured with Democrats voting together with Republicans, shockingly enough. Now, if you guys appreciate the daily updates, please take a second and hit the like button for the video and also subscribe to the channel. I got a lot to talk about today, so let's go ahead and get right back to these sanctuary cities, shall we? Did you guys see that? Chicago's mayor just got humiliated when confronted about the billions of dollars spent on illegal immigrants. I mean, he couldn't even give a straight answer. It's 1% of the budget, but no actual numbers, no receipts, no accountability. This is exactly what happens across America. Sanctuary cities are crumbling under the weight of their own policies, and now they're scrambling to try to cover it up. Meanwhile, some Democrats are finally waking up, as one of their own just got censured in a stunning bipartisan vote. That means some folks in their own party actually threw that guy under the bus. The Democrats are done. So I think the question now is pretty simple. Do you think that these blue city leaders are lying to the public? Type "show us the receipts" if you want full transparency, or type "nothing to see here" if you believe their excuses. I can't wait to see those comments, guys. It's about to explode. So the common consensus within Republicans when it comes to sanctuary cities is that they spend a lot of money, taxpayer money that's meant to help the residents of these cities. But instead of providing aid and relief for Americans, these crazy mayors are instead focused on illegal immigrants. Now, I want to go back to Congressman Byron Donald here because things get very intense with him and these mayors. Watch.
Mayor Johnston, coming back to you. How much did your city spend on illegal immigration? Do you have a round number?
Over the last couple of years on all newcomers, whatever their status was, it's around $79 million since 2022.
$79 million. Mayor Johnson, Chicago. How much has the city of Chicago spent on illegal immigration?
If you're referring to the 2022 up to 2024 of the buses coming from Texas, roughly the same percentage of the state of Texas, about 1% of our overall budget.
What is that? Because we don't have the city's budget in front of me. Numbers.
It's 1%, and if you want the actual calculation, we can make sure someone...
You're the mayor. You don't have the math in front of you?
It's 1% of the overall budget over the last 4 years.
That's why you're a failing mayor.
Which is
Mayor
the same
Adams,
number that
how
was
much did the
sent from
city
us
of New
from
York
the
actually
state
spend
of
on
Texas.
illegal immigration? Mayor Johnson, I already asked you, you don't have a hard number. And if you don't have a hard number, you're not running your city well. Mayor Adams, how much did the city of New York actually spend on illegal immigration?
$6.9 billion of taxpayers' dollars.
$6.9 billion of taxpayer money on a problem that was fostered on the American people. Mayor Wu, in the city of Boston, how much did you spend?
We don't ask about immigration status and delivering city services.
You don't ask about how much money the city of Boston has spent on illegal immigration? Are you out of your mind?
We don't distinguish between immigration status.
Do you manage your budget or not, Mayor Wu?
That is how we keep our city safe.
Mayor Wu, do you manage your budget or not?
We have the numbers to prove it. I manage my budget. I have a AAA bond rating dating back 10 years.
So to the city of Boston, just understand that your mayor does not care how much of your resources she has spent on people who are not citizens
of the city of Boston.
Now, I have to note that Mayor Brandon Johnson keeps repeating Texas as if it's their fault. Texas didn't make them sanctuary cities. That was their choice. And Johnson isn't slick. He knows just how much they've spent on illegal immigrants. He just knows that saying the number out loud would have residents knocking on his office door. There's also the matter with Boston, since their mayor isn't even checking how much they're spending on illegal immigrants. And I'm not sure if you guys caught it, but she said something about safety, that Boston doesn't ask about immigration status to keep their city safe. But how can you keep your city safe if you're not checking who's coming in and out of it? And I want to show you guys that Brandon Johnson is sticking to his script, no matter who's asking him.
How much has Chicago spent on care for illegal aliens?
Thank you for that question, Congresswoman. So since 2022, since the governor of Texas began shipping...
Just tell me a number. I don't need a speech. Just tell me a number.
So since 2022, since the governor of Texas was shipping individuals to cities across this country, the city's budget, roughly 1% of the city's budget over the course of 4 years.
Mayor Johnston, the same question, and I don't need a speech, just a number.
Thank you, Dr. Congresswoman. It's 79 million over the last 2.5 years.
So that was Congresswoman Virginia Fox. And I love how she says that she doesn't need a speech because Johnson, he wants to explain himself. He wants you to give his whole long story, but this is not the time or the place for it. Now, why is he working so hard to avoid answering or saying an exact amount? Well, just a few weeks ago, multiple groups within Chicago have called for Johnson to be replaced, with some residents pushing to turn Chicago red. They argue that residents weren't even given the right to vote if Chicago should be a sanctuary city or not. And their mayor continues to take care of these people. Meanwhile, they have a homeless crisis. And to make matters worse for residents, Chicago, a lot like Boston, they're not vetting a lot of these people who are coming in.
How many of the 662,566 illegal aliens with criminal histories that ICE has reported are now residing in Chicago?
Someone will have to get back with you with that number. I don't keep account of.
Do you take immigration information from criminals as they're arrested and processed? Do you take immigration information?
Our local law enforcement focuses on getting all violent individuals
do you
off the
determine
streets
whether
of
they're
Chicago.
here legally, what their immigration status is as a function of your justice system?
Gentleman's time's expired, but please feel free to answer the question, Mayor.
The Welcome in City ordinance ensures that our local residents communicate and trust local law enforcement to ensure that criminals and crime is being addressed,
So
and
you
that's
have
why
no idea
violent
how
crime
many are illegal.
has
Thank
gone
you,
down
Mr.
in the
Chairman.
city
I'll
of
yield.
Chicago. Thank you very much.
He has no idea about the numbers. And I have to repeat this because it's kind of like a fever dream, but he's the mayor. But it's not like any of these mayors are better than the other. A lesser evil might be more appropriate. But listen to how they're absolutely shredded by Representative Nancy Mace.
I'm going to ask a series of yes or no questions today, and I would like to remind all of you, you are under oath. I only want a yes or a no to my questions. My first question, do you acknowledge breaking into our country as a crime? Mayor Adams, yes or no? Do you acknowledge breaking into our country as a crime?
I acknowledge.
Yes or no?
I acknowledge.
Okay, Honorable Johnson, he's not going to answer the question. Yes or no? Is breaking into our country against the law? Yes or no?
Depends how you cross the border.
Okay,
Some folks
Mayor
have
Johnson,
status.
yes or no?
Comprehensive
Okay,
immigration
that's not an
reform
answer.
policies
Mayor
are what's
Wu?
necessary in this
Mayor Wu,
moment.
do you have a better answer than these gentlemen before you? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, do you believe it's acceptable for illegals who commit heinous crimes be released back into the public instead of being detained and deported? Mayor Adams, yes or no?
Anyone break a crime.
Yes or no? This is not hard. Yes or no?
Anyone that break a crime should be detained.
Okay, Mayor, yes or no?
They should be deported.
Okay, Mayor.
Any individual
Yes
that
or
causes
no?
harm
Yes or
and
no?
breaks
Okay,
the
Mayor
law
Wu?
should be held accountable.
This is why you have 6% approval rating, because you suck at answering questions.
That's a solid burn right there, guys. Now, I want to show you just how crazy these mayors are, especially with Boston. She literally speaks in another language to tell illegal immigrants that they belong here in the United States. I really wish I was making this up, guys.
So to every one of my neighbors back in Boston, know this. You belong here. This is your home. Boston es tu hogar. Boston, 这la calle. 这是你的家. This is our city. We are the safest major city in the nation because we are safe for everyone.
I'm not really sure what she just said, but in terms of crime, her residents face a lot of it. In fact, almost 3% of her constituents face the potential of encountering crime annually. An overview from earlier this year noted that it's best to stick to well-lit and populated areas so as to avoid crimes within Boston. Not a good look. I'm not trying to vacation there no time soon. Now, I want to go ahead and move on to Representative Al Green, who became infamous for interrupting President Trump. He actually got censured with 10 House Democrats voting with the Republicans. Now, what's odd is what the rest of them did next, because it was like an old-time movie where they just suddenly burst into a song.
On this vote, the yeas are 224, the nays are 198, with 2 answering present. The resolution is adopted. Without objection, a motion to reconsider is laid on the table. The House will come to order. The House will come to order. Shh. Will Representative Green present himself to the well? By its adoption of House Resolution 189, the House has resolved that Representative Al Green be censured, that Representative Al Green forthwith present himself in the well of the House of Representatives for the pronouncement of censure, and that Representative Al Green be censured with public reading of this resolution by the Speaker. The House had come to order. The House had come to order.
Now, you knew for a fact that they planned this out, right? And the song was "We Shall Overcome." Johnson told reporters that Green made history in a terrible way. And if the Democrats want to make a 77-year-old heckling congressman the face of their resistance, then that would be fine. But they will not tolerate it on the House floor. Now, I want to redirect you guys to a recent live stream that I did. I talked about President Trump's address and how some Democrats are going viral for all the wrong reasons. One of them being Nancy Pelosi. Make sure you guys check that one out right after this one. As always, thanks for hitting the like button and subscribing. We'll see you next time.